Velkommen til Bilmagasinet. Mit navn er Frederik, og vi er taget herned til Præstø, hvor Zenvo har deres fabrik. Vi skal ind og snakke med en YouTuber, Sme150, som er en af verdens største bil-YouTubere, og han har besluttet sig for at købe en Zenvo. Kom ind for. Right. So obviously I think let's start out with, what have you bought?
I'm here, of course, having placed an order for the Zenvo TSR-S.
TSR-S, okay, yeah. So that's the crazy one with the spoiler tips and...
Literally, yeah, the crazy one. And I say this even myself, kind of questioning how this is possible. But it is indeed the car that offers 1,177 horsepower, a wing that shuffles from side to side, almost fireball explosions when you shift with it, and looks as wild as it does.
As we see, yeah. So, but why then? What's the, what do you get out of it?
So I guess, I mean, I've always been a car enthusiast, creating my videos on YouTube, but also even as a kid, you know, following the world of cars. And I've grown my collection a little bit over the last 5 or 6 years,
right.
And now have a few nice cars in there. And I've always been wondering what's going to be that, let's say, step into the world of the hypercar. What would it be? What would be the first, let's say, true hypercar? I'm lucky to have some nice cars like a McLaren Senna and a Ford GT in the garage, and you know, these are serious pieces of equipment. But this is a very different world. The world of cars at this level of bespoke personalization, performance, power figures, but also the involvement you have in the whole process. And obviously, being here in Denmark at Zenvo, we're in a world of an extreme end of that. Cars that are very, very fast, very, very capable, but also in terms of the company. And I've worked a lot with Zenvo over the last, I'm going to guess, probably 8 or 9 years since I first met the company. Filming different videos when new products have launched at motor shows, the Geneva Auto Show, whether it's been hopping on board, I mean, this very car with Trolls Walletson a couple of years ago in the south of France. And I've always been interested in what the company's doing and the story around the company, and meeting some of the team and the engineers and designers, and I guess being part of it all. So it's one of those, it just kind of grew closer and closer. There are some very exciting things in the works with the company. There's a very exciting team that's been assembled to be part of all of this as well. So for me, it's kind of 2 + 2 = 4. You know, it was literally all roads are leading towards let's do this. And it's a big jump in at the deep end for me, for sure, but the opportunities in terms of what we can do, being here, being part of the specification and the assembly and the manufacturing of the car, through to what's going to come afterwards. So add it all together, and to me it was kind of, let's do it.
Yeah, just like meant to be in a way.
Yes.
Yeah. So even if there were other alternatives, this is the one you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I've driven a few Zenvo cars over the years, from the TS1 to the TSR-S. And actually, we had a TSR-S that was visiting the UK for some events last summer, and it stopped by my garage at home. And we were already talking about it, but at that point, seeing the car in my garage alongside my other cars, and going out for a drive with it on roads that I'm very familiar with, it was just a case of this offers something so different to the other experiences that I have. It's a level of rawness in terms of what you feel and the sound and the emotions driving that many other cars actually don't offer anymore, let's say. It's almost quite old school, but mixing new technology and new engineering and new techniques. And you don't really get very much of that now. So for me, it's kind of everything I love. Just the sheer wackiness and craziness of it in the one car.
Just boiled into a single unit, yeah. And then, so that was the moment then, I assume, where
pretty
you knew
much, that was the moment. We've been talking backwards and forwards for a little bit before that, of course, and you know, these aren't decisions that you make overnight. It's a big commitment, and obviously with what I do, there's so much more planning of, hey, how can I share this experience, you know? While it's amazing for me, what makes it even more amazing is the fact that I can shoot videos along the way to upload on my channel that can then bring the viewer along for this journey with me. And I think that's something that really, when I got talking with the team here at Zenvo about the possibilities, completely separated the company from anybody else in terms of what we could do together,
Right,
in terms of what level we could share this process. You know, it's not just I'm ordering the car, taking delivery of the car. It's this whole process from now until the car is physical.
And so, what are some of those steps? Can you talk a bit about, like, say, what have you spec'd so far?
Yes, for sure. I mean, being here, obviously, we've been completing the specification. We've been going through the final choices, and it might sound like all you do is pick a colour, but it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Right.
Because, you know, if you order a new car, you'll typically be presented with some tech options you'd like and some colour choices to choose between, and, you know, maybe some wheel options, and let's say fairly easy choices to make. When it comes to a product like the TSR-S, you're much more working on a very bespoke level, where even down to the exterior accent painted lines, how thick do you want them to be? Where do you want them to end? Do they go straight? Do they curve up? You know, it's these tiny levels of detail, and especially with this car, because Zenvo do some very clever things with inlays in carbon fibre, different kind of effects with the carbon. They do the asymmetric interiors, so the driver's seat and the passenger zone are actually in different colours, and even different colours for anodized parts inside the car. And there are so many options to go through.
It's a long list.
It's a very long list. So I always like to spec cars in quite bold colour schemes, we can say. Perhaps on their own, it's a little bit loud and out there, but when you have the collection together and, you know, under some nice bright lights, you can appreciate a very nice paint. So we started thinking about a few different colour schemes back a few months prior, and we'd gone through basically down to 3 options. It was either going to be a red car, an orange car, or a purple car. Now, red, there is a TSR-S in red. It looks fantastic, but that was one reason perhaps to not go in that direction. Orange, I just didn't really felt in the end suited it as well as I wanted, and purple has always been personally one of my favourite colours. So purple it was going to be, but this is where the process has been more than I could have expected in terms of creating iterations of paints to get to the exact specification. I've never seen anything like it in comparison.
Millions of sliders and variables to
just so many things. You wouldn't believe in paint. Well, firstly, you know, your shade of paint, how metallic it is, how much black ink is in there, how much of each different kind of pearl. You can literally let your imagination run wild with paints. And then obviously that's the main body colour. You then start choosing your accent colour, you start choosing your tinted carbon fibre colour.
I was going to say.
So we've been going through this whole process, and those are just the colours. When you've got that far, then you choose how much of the bodywork will be with exposed clear carbon fibre, which looks fantastic. How will the paint scheme work around the exterior of the body? What kind of wheels will you have? Will you have carbon fibre? What kind of weave will you have in the carbon fibre? Because you can have all sorts of different structures and appearances, basically.
Right, yeah.
And going through this has been taking a lot more time than I probably expected it would, but I've never seen anything like it in terms of the experience.
Right. So it's meant for you to be here. Like you almost have to like live nearby to be able to inspect the cars in the level you wanted to.
Not necessarily. I mean, the team have done a great job of being able to send things over to me and sending over samples, and we've been, you know, in communication a lot. And that's, like I say, again, something that I probably didn't expect, to have that direct communication in this way, which has been really quite fun as a customer, you know, being appreciated as a customer to make such a purchase, because again, it's such a big commitment, it's a lot to think about, and you want to get it right. So receiving lots of samples, lots of photos, but almost seeing the excitement as well of the team here when they have a new idea, when they have a new thing they want to try, or a new technique, or a new style, and that's actually really fun to receive that kind of communication.
So you're not just developing your car as you're literally developing the car.
I mean, you could say it like that. You certainly could say it like that. So, you know, we've gone for Lila Perlamore, mother of pearl purple, is the colour we've chosen, which is a pearlescent metallic purple, with a contrast in lime green, which is quite a bright colour scheme, purple with lime green, but it's something that I think suits the character of this car. Because the car is so aggressive and so brutal in its visual drama, you can give it a wild colour scheme. It's very Lamborghini-esque, let's say it in that way. You know, you can go crazy with it and it will wear the colour well. I think it needs a bright colour. if you presented it in black almost, it would lose the angles, it would lose the aggression.
And certainly some of the accent as well, as we're seeing
Yes.
on cars like this. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, the car right here is red with orange pinstripes. When would you normally put red and orange on a car together?
Yeah.
That's not.
This
That's,
is the only reason. Yeah.
yeah, that looks awesome. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
a
yeah.
like it's not an instinctive design.
Right.
But then what's going to happen from here, which is really fun, and what the factory have made possible, is to be part of the let's say build process. To cover some of and showcase some of the elements of it. For example, the manufacturing of the carbon fiber wheels. So Zenvo make their own in-house wheels for these cars if you go for the carbon fiber option. And we were actually having a look at the wheels and weighing them to see. And the front wheel, which is a 21-inch wheel, is just 6.9 kilos. Now, for anybody who knows about wheels, that's absurd.
Yeah.
Like that is really
That's
very,
crazy.
very,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
light. Light enough that you're picking it up at a stretch, but with one finger.
Right.
For a 21-inch wheel.
It's crazy.
And this is all because they've built the equipment to test and stress test these kind of things, and to be able to put them through the paces and ensure that they can, and what they need to do with different layers of carbon fiber to have the rigidity which actually exceeds the strength of a traditional wheel in the process. So not only are you saving a lot of weight, so the opportunities for me are to be part of that, to show some of that, to see some of that, to be part of the paint process, to see the different layers. And there are a lot of layers to the paint. It's a very deep paint, and with the pinstripe accents being painted over the tinted carbon and the body colour, you have a lot of different layers and elements all to bring together. So I think this was really like sealing of the deal for me, was being able to come and be part of this.
Right.
And we're going to be part of this all the way through until the car is delivered. And from there, things get even more exciting.
Right, yeah. So before we get to the even more exciting part after, I want to just ask you, because I know probably a lot of people will be wanting it, what is the number one thing that you like the most about the Zenvo? The one that you're
Oh,
doing?
the number one thing.
If you had to pick one, you've mentioned a lot of different things.
Oh, I'm not sure if I could like bring it down to one single thing. I think it's, I mean, if I were to give, let's say, a short list, it's a combination of the emotion from driving it, the noise, the feeling, the drama, the excitement of shifting it very aggressively. The shifts are very violent. Fireballs out the back. So if you've got the camera up on the rearview mirror looking backwards, you literally see the fireball behind you popping, which is quite fun. Obviously how wild it looks, but then I think a very significant part is, let's say, the family of the company, the team, and being part of this whole experience. I think that goes even beyond the physical.
Just the car.
Let's say the car physically in existence. I think it's almost, for me, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to do something at this level.
Right.
And the way they kind of gave me, let's say, the excitement of how I would feel involved with it, and the way that's actually translating now, is a way that I think it's priceless. It's more than the car itself.
Right.
So maybe that's what I should say. Number one is being part of it all.
Being part of the Zenvo family, so to speak. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, they're obviously you were talking about the colors before, like picking out, okay, well, this one already exists. They're really exclusive cars. How many are there?
So mine is chassis number 14.
Chassis number 14.
Yeah, my number plate for the car will have a number 14 on it, just to connect. I think it's always quite a nice story.
Right.
So this is one of the things, Zenvo have big ambitions. And again, like I say, with the family, with knowing where they're going, the products that are in the pipeline, there's some really exciting stuff down the line. The team that's been assembled is a very exciting team as well. And this is, again, part of it for me, all linking back together. But I love that I think a fair few people, automotive enthusiasts and people in the industry, know Zenvo, but nobody really knows a lot about Zenvo.
Right.
So that's one of the big things for me. Everybody knows, let's say, Bugatti, but everybody knows everything about Bugatti. It's quite well documented. Whereas, again, there's this opportunity to share something that we don't know much about. Who actually are Zenvo? What do they actually do? What are their cars actually like?
Yeah.
So this is, it all comes back together.
Yeah. It's back in. So, in the end, you said you wanted to do something even more exciting in the future, and I think that ties into teaching people about Zenvo, right? So
yeah, for sure.
I mean, you laughed at me before when I asked you, is it going to be a garage queen? Your Zenvo?
It's certainly not going to be a garage queen. I believe that I'm certainly very lucky to be able to enjoy these kind of opportunities. I kind of pinch myself every day that this kind of thing is actually really happening. But one of the things I enjoy the most is actually using the cars, driving the cars, letting other people come out in the cars, you know, trying to do miles and make the videos around this to give people a part of the experience.
Right.
You know, I'm obviously hugely passionate about the automotive world, and if there's a way I can, you know, inspire someone else to share that passion, then that's mission success.
Right.
So for me, you know, this car is going to do a lot. It's hard to speak for years down the line, but initially the plan is to try and take it pretty much around the world, to stop off at multiple different events,
Right.
to be part of the Zenvo team, really. You know?
Yeah.
The Zenvo guys want to go to certain places. I'd love to be part of that if I can. So if that means we can take my TSR-S to events in the US or around Europe or whatnot, then I'm all for it. We'll do everything we possibly can.
Right. So in connection to that, do you want us to be here for your delivery of the car?
Well, I think I'm hoping I'll be able to take delivery of it right here at the HQ. That's certainly the plan. Let's see. We've got ideas for where we would like to be able to launch it. And there's certainly a time pressure element, so let's see if the guys are able to get it ready. But fingers crossed we can set that up, yeah.
Awesome, yeah, I'll look forward to that. Well, thank you so much for
pleasure
listening to my ramblings. And
well, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, great.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that was it.
Perfect.